Welcome to Netrush Report, where rivalries, comebacks, and emotional moments turn tennis into something so much bigger than just a game. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because today's story blends heartbreak, heat, and humility in ways that remind us why tennis never sleeps. Let's dive in. The global tennis circuit is on fire, literally and figuratively. From Shanghai to Beijing to Wuhan, players are pushing themselves to the limit, and Sunday's matches have already rewritten the script of this season. Let's start in Shanghai, where one of the most shocking moments of the day unfolded. Belgian tennis veteran David Goffin, a former world number 7, was forced to retire just 10 minutes into his third-round match against Gabriel Diallo. No warning, no visible medical timeout, just game over. The crowd fell silent as Goffin approached the net, shook Diallo's hand, and walked off. The umpire's announcement stunned everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Goffin cannot compete due to an injury. Diallo wins 3-0, retirement. And just like that, one of the sport's quiet warriors was gone for the day, leaving fans wondering, what really happened? Goffin had just come off a major win against Ben Shelton, one of the top seeds. It was supposed to be his big comeback moment, but the tennis gods had other plans. Meanwhile, the conditions in Shanghai were turning the tournament into a test of endurance. Arthur Rinderknecht didn't mince words when he described what it's like to compete there right now. It's difficult to breathe on court, worse than the United States in summer. The humidity is crazy. He even hinted that pollution and cloud cover in China made it nearly impossible to recover between points. Physios rushed to courts throughout the day. Players like Holger Rune had their vitals checked mid-match, while others, like Taylor Fritz, bent over gasping for air. Rune later revealed his blood pressure was being monitored during the first set against Hugo Humbert. Yet somehow, the Dane pushed through, winning 6-4, 6-4. Commentators called it a miracle performance under impossible conditions. But the most emotionally charged match came from the towering Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, who pulled off the biggest win of his career, stunning world number 5 Taylor Fritz in straight sets, 6-4, 7-5. It was a physical war of attrition. Fritz could barely stand during the final games, while Perricard later confessed, "I thought I was dying on the court." The 6 feet 7 inches Frenchman admitted the conditions nearly broke him, but what stood out most was his humility after the win. He reflected on his loss to Fritz at Wimbledon, saying, "I learned from that match. I improved on my return, on my volley, my touch. This match showed I'm growing." This was his first ever top 10 victory, a breakthrough that catapulted him into the 4th round and straight into the tennis headlines. Over in Beijing, the China Open final has shaped up to be one of the most exciting matchups of the season. Amanda Anisimova, the number 4 seed and already a WTA 1000 champion this year, faces 20-year-old Linda Noskova, who's chasing the biggest title of her career. Noskova's road to the final has been nothing short of miraculous, saving 3 match points against Jessica Pegula in the semis. The two are tied 1-1 in their head-to-head, setting up a mouth-watering decider. And speaking of Pegula, she didn't hold back after her heartbreaking defeat, writing, "Brutal, but gave it my all. Thank you, China Open fans." The respect between these young women is what makes the WTA so special. Talent, grit, and pure emotion on full display. But let's come back to Emma Raducanu, the player who's once again making headlines for something unexpected. In a new Tennis Channel feature, Raducanu was asked to name her favorite match of the year. Her answer stunned everyone. "My match with Aryna Sabalenka at Wimbledon," she said. For the atmosphere, and the viewing numbers were insane. That match, of course, ended in defeat for Emma. She led by a break in both sets, but Sabalenka fought back to win 7-6, 6-4. So why would a loss be her favorite? Because for Raducanu, it wasn't about the scoreline. It was about the moment, the energy of center court, the pressure, the roar of the crowd. It reminded her, and all of us, why she fights so hard to stay in this game. And her self-awareness goes even deeper. Reflecting on recent heartbreaks, like blowing match points against Jessica Pegula and Barbara Krejcikova, she said, "It was hard for me. The last 2 matches I lost, I had match points in both. But I'm improving, and I didn't dwell on it. I got straight back to work." It's that mentality, quietly tough, relentlessly improving, that's winning fans back around the world. Because while critics still question her comeback, Emma Raducanu is learning how to lose like a champion, and that's the foundation of greatness. Back in Shanghai, there's another storm brewing, this time a verbal one. Alexander Zverev accused tournament organizers of slowing down the courts to favor players like Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. But Sinner didn't hold back in his response. "Me and Carlos don't make the courts. We just adapt. Every week is different. I'm just focused on playing my best tennis." That subtle jab, polite but powerful, shows just how much the new generation has matured. Sinner knows that adapting, not complaining, is what separates winners from worriers. And with Alcaraz out due to injury, Sinner and Djokovic are now carrying the torch, giving fans blockbuster matches that blend passion, precision, and pure entertainment. Meanwhile, Italian duo Sara Errani and Jasmine Paolini continue to prove why chemistry matters as much as power. They took home the China Open doubles title, their 9th together, and 4th this year, adding another WTA 1000 crown to their collection after victories in Doha, Rome, and the French Open. Their 6-7, 6-3, 10-2 win showed the grit of veterans who simply refuse to fade away. It's not flashy. It's not loud. It's pure Italian heart. Elsewhere, Holger Rune and Zizou Bergs both battled through scares. Rune's blood pressure check had fans fearing the worst, while Bergs called for a physio at 5-3 before sealing his win over Francisco Cerundolo. And over in the doubles draw, Andrei Rublev and Karen Khachanov, fresh off a strong run in Beijing, withdrew from Shanghai after their opening win, likely choosing rest over risk as the season grinds on. Even Lerner Tien, the teenage sensation, grabbed headlines after upsetting Corentin Moutet. He gave credit where it was due, saying, "Moutet doesn't get enough credit for how good he is. He's crazy talented." Respect, the word of the day. So let's recap. A veteran forced to retire in tears. Players struggling to breathe. A rising giant defeating a top seed. And a former Grand Slam champion learning to love her losses. That's the heartbeat of tennis. And that's exactly why we're here, to capture every serve, every shock, every soul-shaking moment. Thanks for watching Netrush Report, where we bring you the emotion behind the headlines. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the chaos, courage, and confessions rocking the tennis world right now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because next week's matches in Wuhan and Shanghai promise even more drama. Until next time, stay passionate, stay inspired, and keep your eyes on the court. Tennis.